The GTX 1080 Ti, the king of the hill for graphics cards right now. One of the most expensive ones you can get your hands on due to the crypto mining. I found this one at retail price, believe it or not. I stumbled upon it at 4 in the morning while trolling around on the internet. My initial thought was, God, with all the crypto mining going on and the rumors swelling, NVIDIA isn't launching any cards for a little while. So I figured I'd jump on it. Worst came to worst, I could always resell it and make more than my money back. And I was sick and tired of trying to buy a second 980 Ti. They're 500 fucking bucks. I figured slap on an extra 300 bucks and I got a 1080 Ti. Screw it, I'll go with that. Rather than giving some fucknut way too much money for my old graphics card. And as soon as I did this, I swear on my life, dude, literally 6 hours later, the news drops that NVIDIA might be releasing the 2080 in a month. I immediately try to cancel my order. Can't cancel it. It's already shipped. Suck a dick, you faggot. So I sat there and thought, okay, alright, whatever. It gets here when it gets here. I'll make my decision then. I could still sell it and make a tidy profit. Not a huge one in all honesty. Or I could play with it for the time being and then sell it as soon as the new cards are announced and still make my money back and then some. I mean, I've already paid half of it off. So I figured, why not? Let's see what this thing can do. It's the usual sort of stuff you get inside the EVGA boxes. I've noticed they've moved to a foam casing rather than the plastic they used to use. I don't know why, but I guess it's a bit easier to deal with. Oh, don't mind Chuchi. She is always a part of every video and stream in my life now. She cannot be ignored. She's a little star. But I'll say this about the 1080 Ti. In all honesty, it hasn't lived up to the hype for me. I'm just leaving this video as it is in the sense of like it shows me unboxing it, but I'm just going to talk about this in a realistic standpoint. It's a good graphics card, but it's not as amazing as it was hyped up to be for me. You know, all the stuff I heard about it. You see, you know, big YouTubers who have sponsorships, I won't name names, who are definitely getting cherry-picked graphics cards. Oh, my 980 Ti in this style blower can get 150 megahertz on the boost and the core clock. Dude, my memory and core clock hemorrhage if they go anywhere past 50 megahertz overclock. That's it. I was talking to a colleague of mine, a friend of mine who's a bit more versed in tech than me, who basically confirmed everything I believed. That the 1080 Ti, honestly, for the average person, can't do much more than a 50 megahertz overclock. By the way, it's replacing my 980 Ti, which I could overclock way better than this new card. But anyway, he confirmed that the 1080 Ti could not overclock too far. And in fact, he had to do a power mod to get a little extra juice out of it before his VRAM roasted. On the plus side, if you do overclock and overvolt your graphics cards, at least with EVGA, if it drops dead within that warranty, they will replace it. Even if you mod the motherboard with a power, do the power mod on the motherboard, they will honor the warranty surprisingly. So that's what's cool with EVGA. In all honesty, there's a litany of issues with this card. Alright, using the old Precision X, for some reason my fans never ran. I played with the graphics card and literally it'd get up to 70C and the fans wouldn't run. So I'd immediately cancel the game, let it cool off, and then I had to research and find the newest version of Precision X, which then after I downloaded and used, ironically enough, the fans started to work. Now, the cool thing was that the EVGA graphics card, the fans don't run unless it reaches a certain level. That's all fine and dandy. But after about like 2 or 3 benchmark test runs, I noticed that the graphics card never went back to an idle. Before it idled at like 34C and the fans were off. Now my graphics card is always at 1500 megahertz at the least, and the fans are always running and it runs at 54C all the fucking time. I've read a bunch of crap about how, oh, well, if you do this and this and this and that and you wiggle your balls a little bit to the right and then you pour salt in your eyes, the graphics card will then magically work normally and it'll idle back at 34 degrees Celsius and it won't be at 1500 megahertz. Bullshit! The overclocks work fine in the benchmarks, whether you're using Haven benchmark or the Unity 2 engine benchmark. The graphics card could sustain most of the small overclocks I tried. But the second I put the overclocks in the in-game, fucking forget it. Crash City, man. Repeated crashes. It became annoying. I spent an entire day benchmarking, overclocking, and trying to find that right level of juice. Because frankly, I really wanted to play The Witcher 3, my copy, modded, at 4K, without setting anything back. I mean, the whole point of the 1080 Ti was truly to achieve 4K 60 for me. It's possible in most games, but my Witcher, it seems to dance between 50 and 60 depending on what's going on in the world. So, after tons of testing, I found that I could make The Witcher 3 run at high 50s to a locked 60 FPS if I lowered a number of settings. You know the ones, HBM plus, HBM AO plus. No, you got to drop that to SSAO if you have any hope of doing it. Hairworks has to be on low if you want to use Hairworks. I know a lot of people sit there and go, well, don't use Hairworks. It's like, you know what? I want the little extra frill, okay? My life is not full of frill. So if I can get some frill somewhere, I'm fucking having it. I'm having it. I need to turn to a life of crime. This like YouTube shit ain't cutting it. Need to be like Biggie Smalls rap songs. But anyway, you use that and then it's a possibility. It's, get the fuck out of here, bitch. It is capable of doing so. I know I should have made this video like 4K, but yeah, sorry about that. So it's going to be 1440p. Forgive me. After lots of fiddling, I was capable of getting to a lock 60, around a lock 60. There will be some dips with The Witcher 3 with Hairworks on. If you take Hairworks off on The Witcher 3 in 4K, I guarantee you 60 FPS in the vanilla game. So at least it's achievable there. It's something that is possible. Okay, you know, whoop-de-doo, but who plays The Witcher vanilla? Very few people, you know, and that wasn't my goal here. Playing The Witcher vanilla was not tickling my fancy. I wanted to play my copy of The Witcher fully loaded. I wanted that experience. I wanted it badly. The graphics card cost an arm and a leg. It should deliver that. Now the true test came. Unfortunately, for some reason, with my modded copy of The Witcher, none of my video capturing overlays really worked. I'm guessing it's something to do with the reshade I was using. Ugh. I found that my copy of The Witcher in 4K with all the mods I was running was not a possibility. I was living with high 40s with Hairworks on, around 44, 45 FPS. This made the game seem kind of janky to me. Man, I could not take it. It was a bit depressing. So, once again, I had to live with another compromise, as I'm sure even if I took off Hairworks, I'd be lucky to be kissing 50 FPS, especially in a crowded, populated area or an area with a lot of vegetation, plants, trees, etc. I'm using a lot of grass mods as well. Maybe if I remove some mods, 60 FPS would be popular. Maybe if I remove some mods, 60 FPS would be possible. But I wasn't in the mood to go through all my mods and then start unmerging them and unmerging scripts and doing all this crap just to attain an extra 15 FPS. As I said before, while attempting to overclock the graphics card, I found minimal results or high levels of instability, even with a 40 MHz boost on the core and the memory clocks. It just wasn't happening. Also, I found if I overvolted, my graphics card also became unstable, even with a small overclock. At that point, I figured it wasn't worth the hassle. The only thing left to me to do was to play The Witcher 3 at 1440p on my 4K monitor. It was a compromise that had to be met. On one hand, 1440p at 60 FPS is very possible with minimum dips. Sorry, I don't have like the overlay. Like I said before, it won't show itself. Also, 1440p, obviously a better experience than 1080p. So I guess I'd live with that until I found a way around this. My verdict is the 1080 Ti. If you were to try and buy one used off of eBay, you would have to spend at least $950 to $1,000. The only other options you have are to watch, maybe Newegg has a few that aren't overpriced. EVGA, you'd have to watch like a hawk. Or you have to compromise and buy one of their combos, where it's a graphics card with a motherboard you probably won't use. And the resale value on it wouldn't go too great for you, even though it's new. So it's a big bummer right now due to the mining craze. And the miners aren't fully to blame. A lot of it has to do with the secondhand retailers and the average Joes buying like 7 or 8 graphics cards with their credit card and then reselling them and coming off with a tidy profit. I wouldn't say of much of one, as in it isn't as profitable as it was. The 1080 Ti is no longer $1,600 on the market anymore. It's around $1,000. So you're probably walking away with, maybe, if you sell on eBay, $100 of profit. And at that point, is it worth it? That's the question I ask myself. As I will sell this graphics card at some point as soon as the newer cards are announced, because I was waiting for those. But then I figured they weren't going to happen until fucking I buy this shit, and then they say, oh, well, here's some rumors, the new cards are coming. And it's like, motherfucker. Yeah, of course when I do it, the cards come. What, the universe just shits on me and Charlie Brown, dude. Get wrecked, scrub! And on that note, I'm out of here. Final verdict, 1080 Ti. If you got the cash to burn and you don't have any expectations, it's fine. If you're like me and you're expecting a locked 60 FPS even with heavily modded games, no, that's not it. Supposedly the next gen cards will see a 10 to 15% performance boost, so locked 60 could be a possibility. I won't know until they come out because I have no inside information. I'm not Jay's 2 cents or Linus Tech Tips. And at this point, I'm beginning to think maybe I should shill out. Maybe someone will pay me something. Fuck you, Gundam! Remember to smash that like button and follow me on all social medias. Because the more of you that follow me, the louder my voice gets, the more popular I get, the more likely someone will be forced to send me a graphics card to review. They probably won't though. They'd rather watch their company burn than work with the Che Guevara of YouTube or the Howard Stern.